cry. Oh my god. Oh god. I didn't think I was going to feel like this before I watched the last episode, but oh man, I'm going to miss this show. Like, what the hell am I going to do with this now? Oh god, yeah, those last few minutes, my god, it felt such a sort of connection with what that had to be like, when that sort of thing really happens. But anyway, let's talk about the actual episode first of all. First of all, the callbacks to all the previous episodes and everything, that really sort of emphasises how they've had this whole thing planned out from the very beginning. The Gobblewonker that you see at the very end of the second episode, that comes back at last. I really was kind of anxious, for a long time, thinking, are they going to follow up on that? Are they going to bring that back and give us some kind of explanation? And they did in the very last episode. That was great. That callbacks, the waxwork with the Larry King waxwork and several times, and the little guys at the miniature golf course, and too many to count. Honestly, it's just bringing it all back together, coming all together for one last final battle. The visuals just absolutely incredible. It looked like a little bit of CGI was done on that sort of giant robot thing, and again a lot of sort of callbacks to previous episodes, sort of a little sort of compilation thing in the building of that giant robot. Looked like CGI or cell shading, I guess they call it, for that robot. Really cool. I wish we could have seen more of the battle actually. With Bill. I was kind of hoping that they were going to explain exactly why Bill can't leave Gravity Falls, that they made sort of a big deal about that in the sort of previous parts of this sort of overarching finale. But they never really explain why that is exactly. It's just sort of something that happens. It's just sort of all the mystery and the weird stuff that goes on around Gravity Falls. Maybe it creates a sort of vacuum that means that weird stuff can't escape or something, or maybe it's just, the way things were when that UFO landed, or maybe the UFO landing created that barrier or something, perhaps. But no, I don't think they ever sort of really explain it. They also never really explain exactly what the deal is between Ford and Stan, and exactly why there's such a huge grudge between them, because I always thought, Ford was being a bit sort of hard on Stan, not forgiving him for saving him, for something he did, like 30 years ago. And I was kind of hoping there might be something more to it, maybe a new detail might be revealed in the final episode. We don't really understand, so I guess it's just, kind of just what Ford's like. He's a sort of bit of a grump old man, maybe, and maybe he takes it personally or something, or maybe even though it was 30 years ago, it is just that difficult to forgive. I wouldn't see it that way myself, but I guess Ford does. And we sort of see here that Stan is kind of the same. He kind of holds a grudge, even in a real sort of desperate situation. I think Gideon said it best. Now's not the time, Stan. You should not be acting like that, not holding petty grudges against your brother, in a situation when the world is at stake and you need to save the world from Bill Cipher. That was not the time to choose to pick a fight with your brother at that particular moment. So in some ways it's kind of understandable, but Stan's timing, that really kind of irritated me. I'm not sure if I really liked Stan doing that. And then, a couple of minutes later, I guess, maybe the writers were sort of thinking, let's have Stan act like a real jerk, and let's have him go a complete 180 and do the ultimate sacrifice, in a way, and giving up what makes Stan him. He's not sacrificing his life so much as what makes Stan him, and that's, obviously his memories. If you don't remember who you are, you're not really you anymore. And that's very sort of true to reality, when people get old, and they do start to forget things, it can be quite painful for loved ones, the loved one, not recognising you anymore. It can be just that painful. And obviously, you knew it was going to get resolved before the end of the episode. They couldn't leave us hanging with, Stan not remembering who he was. But it's interesting, actually, just how quickly that got resolved. And they don't really explain exactly how it resolved or what exactly they did to sort of trigger Stan's memories back. But at the same time, it seems weird saying this about a 45-minute episode, but they do need to sort of rush things along to, sort of get to the ending. They are on a bit of a time constraint in that fact, it had to be sort of difficult, I think, for the writers, because you kind of want the finale to be mostly, the final battle with Bill. You don't want Bill to be defeated too long before the end, but you have to have the whole thing with Stan getting his memory back, and then you have to have this sort of little farewell sort of thing at the very end to just sort of wrap things up. So, that is why, finales of TV shows are difficult, because you need to have the story of the final episode, and then you have to wrap things up as well. It has to all be within the time constraint of, a regular episode, or in this case, 2 episodes, I guess. I kind of knew that, there was always going to be the issue with them having to rush things a little bit and get things resolved a little bit. And the only thing that really sort of bugged me about the way they resolved things was that Stan's memories got restored a little bit too quickly, I thought. And I was kind of thinking, was there going to be maybe some kind of big completion of various different character arcs? Obviously we got it with Dipper and Mabel, with them turning 13. We got one for Zeus, with him now becoming the owner of the Mystery Shack. I mean, that's one of many things, actually, that makes me sort of want to see, more of this show, or maybe a sequel series, or a spin-off series. Maybe one about Zeus, and maybe another one about sort of Wendy and her friends. I don't think we really need one about Stan and Ford. I think you can pretty much sort of guess where they ended up. But a spin-off series about Zeus being the owner of the Mystery Shack, that would be pretty cool, I think, because I think Zeus is probably my favourite character, actually. But yeah, you sort of got an ending for Stan and Ford. It was just sort of them resolving things and making things up and going off on their own little adventure. And, I guess, for old men, that's their adventure, or their story, or their character's sort of completion. They're just happy together going off on an adventure again. I suppose Wendy, the only real sort of ending that she needed was just to sort of know that Dipper and her were on good terms and everything. I didn't quite like the way that it was very much about her and Dipper at the very end. Right down to the fact that the goodbye note that she gives him actually just says to Dipper. It doesn't even say to Dipper and Mabel on it. That was a bit harsh, I thought, but at the same time, I suppose they had Mabel saying goodbye to Candy and Grenda, and as well as, actually in the end taking Waddles with her. So I suppose they wanted, Dipper to have his own personal goodbye, and Mabel to have her own personal goodbye, as well as them saying goodbye to the whole town as well. And the only way to give Dipper his own little personal goodbye was to have him say goodbye to Wendy. I guess that's maybe what they were going for there. But it still bothers me that note just said to Dipper, even though it's it's signed by the whole town and everything. That really should have said to Dipper and Mabel. And Stan's sacrifice, I'm doing this kind of very much sort of out of order, aren't I? Stan's sacrifice, it was kind of a bit of an abrupt sort of 180, I thought, from just a few minutes ago when Stan was sort of refusing to save the world, just for the sake of, sorting out a little petty argument he had with his brother. I don't know if I really needed Stan to say, "What if he goes into my mind?" Right before that, because to me, it might not have been the same for kids who maybe aren't quite as sort of accustomed to these kinds of stories, but to me, that made it pretty obvious that was what they were going to do. And I did sort of guess that, I didn't quite know exactly how they'd done it, but I did sort of guess that they tricked Bill into going into Stan's mind rather than Ford's. And, if you watch it back, actually, you can see the little mark on the chin is actually on the guy dressed as Stan rather than Ford, in the scene right before Bill and Ford shake hands. So good attention to detail by the animators there, although Ford still appears to have 6 fingers. And I guess he was wearing gloves, maybe that's how they get away with it there. But yeah, I kind of guessed that was what they had done there, and surprised really that Bill fell for it, to be honest. I don't know why he didn't maybe think that was something they were going to try and do. We finally got an explanation for the wheel, which I actually did kind of expect. Really, it's the main thing that the whole fandom as a whole has been speculating and debating about, basically since the series first started out. It was just a sort of question of who represented what symbol. Most of them were pretty obvious, but some of them were a little bit difficult to figure out. I think the one that really, nobody guessed was that the glasses were McGucket. I don't think anybody really had McGucket on that wheel. So that's quite a good sign of how this show keeps you guessing right up until the very end. So that was really cool. Still a lot of sort of mysteries, I suppose, that were left unexplained. I think, that's kind of a good thing. It's always good to have the fans speculate and debate, for all eternity about everything. That there is value in the unknown and being able to debate and speculate about different things. Another thing I kept hearing the fandom thinking that they might explain to us in the final episode is, what is Dipper's real name? I don't think that's important at all. Whatever Dipper's real name is, it's meaningless to us. He's Dipper to us. We've always known him as Dipper. Let's just say, for example, his real name turned out to be Steve. What does that mean? It's not important. What's the significance of his real name being Steve? It doesn't have any kind of significance or meaning to us, because to us, he's Dipper, and it's what he's done in Gravity Falls. One other sort of minor thing that kind of bugged me, actually, was when they pulled the mayor out of the chair where everybody's turned to stone, everybody is unfrozen. I don't quite understand why that would unfreeze everyone. I understand that he was the load bearer, and therefore the chair would collapse when he was pulled out, but why does that cause everyone to unfreeze? I'm not quite sure how exactly that works. Do you have to be part of the chair in order to be made of stone, perhaps, or something? Is it something like that? But didn't Bill turn people to stone and then make them part of the chair? Didn't it work like that? I'm not sure. It would have been in a previous episode. I'd have to go back and check. But yeah, I didn't quite understand how that worked. And I just thought it was kind of odd, actually, that Robbie and Pacifica played quite a large role in the finale, the final move in saving Bill, that they're right there at the end. I guess it's because that they're on the wheel, that they have to be there at the very end. But no, it didn't occur to me that they would be, part of the team that was part of the final battle against Bill. I would have much more have expected that to be just Dipper and Mabel, and I guess in a way it kind of was. And I sort of wondered, was there going to be any kind of significance to the fact that Mabel was about to be killed when Ford, or more precisely Stan, calls out Bill and says, "Okay, I surrender." It sort of makes me wonder, does that mean Stan cares more for Mabel than Dipper? No, it's probably just, it just happened to be Mabel. That was just the way it worked out. I was kind of thinking when I saw, Bill doing the whole eeny, meeny, miny, was there going to be some kind of significance to which one that he chose? But no, I don't think it was important. Watching it again, it doesn't seem like they're making a big deal out of it or anything. And initially, actually, before we find out the twist of that he's actually gone into Stan's mind, that seems like a really dumb decision by Ford that he's made there. He's going to sacrifice the entire universe, basically, for the sake of saving his two grandchildren, or his two great niece and nephew, rather. That does not seem like a sensible deal to me, but I guess, when loved ones' lives are at stake, maybe the human mind does do irrational things, and it doesn't think logically, perhaps. I guess it's kind of like, if you're ever faced with the choice of, killing one person or killing 1,000 people, logically you should choose to kill the one person, but it's still not an easy choice to make because you're still killing someone. So I guess that's the way he's sort of thinking, it's hundreds and millions, billions of people that I'm sacrificing here, that I'm possibly killing, but, agreeing to this deal with Bill. But it's it's two children, and it's not only that, it's two children that my brother cares for deeply and that I care for deeply. It's still not an easy thing to do, to just sacrifice them, knowing that you could have saved them. And yeah, actually, I think that's about it. That's basically everything I wanted to say about this finale. It's not by any means, like a personal favourite of mine, but it's a very sort of satisfying way to end the series, that final scene. And some of the ways that they sort of wrap things up at the end, it did really definitely leave me wanting more. I was perfectly happy with this series ending before I saw that final episode, but actually the way that they wrap up certain characters actually did make me kind of want to see more. The fact that Wendy's note to Dipper at the end actually says, "See you next summer," it does make me think that there's actually going to be more of this at some point. Maybe there's going to be a Disney Channel movie at some point, that's going to come out in like a couple of years or something, that's going to be like an update on where Dipper and Mabel are or something. I have no doubt that this series is at an end, but I don't know, maybe we'll have a spin-off series, or maybe we'll have, just a one-off movie of some kind to just maybe sort of give us kind of an update or something. It depends on... I don't know if maybe if the fans demand it, Alex Hirsch might give in and just give us a little bit more just for the sake of it, but actually he doesn't seem like the type of writer who would do something like that. It seems to me like he would want to end it because he doesn't have any more ideas on what to do. If he did any more of the stuff in the Gravity Falls universe, he'd want to maybe explore a character that he didn't really have the proper chance to look at in the actual series, like maybe Pacifica or Robbie, or Zeus would actually be the one I would want to see, but that seems like the more kind of interesting approach that Alex Hirsch might take with this universe that he has now created. Just a movie to just sort of take place like a year later or something, that seems like, to me, just giving us more Gravity Falls for the sake of giving us more Gravity Falls. But at the same time, I kind of do want to just see where these characters go, but that's kind of my heart thinking and not my head, and I sort of have to sort of think at the same time, you know, it's not just a case of here are the characters and where they are now. You know, you have to put a story with it. It has to be kind of interesting, and it has to have conflict and ideas and character arcs and jokes in the same way that the show did. It's no good just giving us more Gravity Falls for the sake of it. You know, you'll regret asking for that once you actually see it if it's not a good story. Yeah, great show. Never had a bad episode. It's one of the few shows out there that I can actually say that of. And quite an emotional little sort of ending that did left me wanting to see more. And, you know, great visuals in that final battle with Bill. Yeah, that's that, guys. The final Gravity Falls vlog. And I guess I'll see you for other videos at some point in the future if that's the kind of thing you want to see from me. Or perhaps, you know, maybe I'll do a vlog of some other show. That's it now for the Gravity Falls vlogs, and I hope you've enjoyed it. This that I've been doing now for, blimey, what, I think about 2.5 years now. So I'll see you around, guys.